Hello, little ones. Good morning. Today I'm going to read to you another adventure of the Octonauts. And here they're going to an adventure into the Sea of Shade by Naomi. It was a quiet afternoon under the deep green sea when Captain Barnacles was writing in his log. Professor Inkling was enjoying his high tea. Oh, look at all the hands. Dr. Shellington was polishing his clam collection. Do you all have a collection of your own too? Peso the penguin was practicing on his piano. Tunip the Vegemite loves cooking, so he's baking a cake today. Quasi Kitten was chewing on some yarn. Kittens love yarn, don't they? Yeah, there you go. And Dashy Dog was playing basketball with all the new Vegimals. Tweak Bunny was... Oh, where was Tweak Bunny? Alert! 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 The Octonauts rushed down to the Octopod headquarters and found Tweak in a panic. Something awful has happened. I was napping under my favorite tree when the cool shade disappeared. The crew looked around. Outside, inside, upside and downside. Shadows everywhere were indeed missing. So everybody was in a panic. Something must be wrong in the Sea of Shade, Professor Inkling exclaimed as he carefully selected a large brook from the shelf. According to the mysterious places guide, this hidden realm is ruled by a great Shade King who governs the shadows of the world. Octonauts, you must talk to the king and discover what's causing this disturbance. Here is the map. What's a map? What's a map? A map is a picture if you don't know your way around some place. A map is always pointing north. Your right side is the east and the left side is the west. See, this is the map of the Sea of Shade. It's got some fanged caves. And there's a lot of bramble bushes. And there's also a shade castle. So the Octonauts have to use this map to go find the Sea of Shade. Or the Shade King. Let's go. But how will we find him? Quasi Kitten mewed gruffly. A very interesting question, Professor Inkling muttered. Using the cartographic bathymetric to calculate the compaserific coordinates contained in the superannuated substrate should yield the location. Nobody understood that, did they? Think the Octonauts did the same. The befuddled Octonauts stared at the Professor Inkling. Follow the old map, he said. Prepare to launch, Dashy called over the speakers. The Octonauts packed up their supplies for the long journey ahead. Tunip made the crew a fresh batch of kelp cakes to eat along the way. Cutie Tunip, she always loves to cook. Or maybe he always loves to cook. They cautiously dived down the ocean's darkest rift, waving to friendly fronds and slipping past sleeping sharks, until they reached the cave's entrance to the old frangled caves. Look at how many different creatures there are in the deep dark sea. So they went down and down and down, and they reached almost the bottom. Now, inside the cabins, the Octonauts were confused for days. Which side was up and which side was down? Some animals had their houses upside down, some were going downstairs upside down, but some were normal. Well, they didn't know anything. What's up? What's down? Eventually, a friendly stalactite pointed the way out. This way out. After their rocky experience, the Octonauts surfaced into a world of grey. Is this the Sea of Shade? Peso asked in dismay. The world looked very bleak, and the crew noticed shadows hiding behind the plants and lurking in corners. They seemed sad and afraid. Well, the shadows were sad and afraid. Why was that? The shadows were sad and afraid. Let's see what the Octonauts do now. This place needs some cheering up, Barnacles declared, as he pulled out his accordion and began playing a happy shanty. Soon, everybody joined him, I believe, even the shadows. They started playing too. In the warm glow of the ship's beams, flowers blossomed and leaves turned wonderful colors. Curious shadows slowly came out to watch. And so, the Octonauts, cutie pies, always make everything around them cheerful and happy. Now, the lights and the music that the Octonauts played reminded the shades of the outside world where there were lots of things to see and do. They happily followed the Octonauts as they traveled deeper into the sea. Look at all the shades. They're having a good time with the Octonauts. They're hanging out. What happens next when they go deep, deep, deep into the sea? Finally, the Octonauts came upon a vast thicket of black, thorny branches that twined and tangled in all directions. The Shade King lives on the other side of these brambly woods, but there's no way our ship can pass through, and the monsters up top don't look friendly either, Twig glumly concluded. How do they go out into these brambly woods? How will they meet the Shade King? They can't pass through, the ship won't go through. Let's see. Wanting to help, the shadows pooled their shady thoughts. They could merge together and form a ship to carry the Octonauts. See, the shadows came to help them. Only shadows could pass through a shadow forest, Barnacles remarked in appreciation. The Octonauts quickly boarded, and to everyone's relief, they slipped into a thicket with ease. See, they boarded the shady new ship. They went into the brambly woods. During the long voyage through the woods, vicious winds lashed out at the ship and scary howls echoed all around. "Ow! Ow!" But inside the shadow ship, only the sounds of merry songs and laughter were heard. The Octonauts were still having a fun time. And then the shadows and the shadow ship and the Octonauts went through the bramble woods. When the crew reached the end of Brambly Woods, they could see the sinister Shade Castle looming in the distance with a large palace guard waiting at the gate. At last they reached the castle. Look at the castle. Isn't it eerie? That's the large palace guard waiting at the gate. The Shade King greatly disliked being disturbed by strangers, and he scowled as the Octonauts were escorted into the great hall. Captain Barnacles removed his hat and gave a deep bow. "Your Majesty, we miss our shadows very much. Why did they leave?" He's trying to request the Shadow King, and he's a very brave guy. The king frowned. "For centuries, I watched through my shadowscape as shadows were stepped on and ignored. It's not easy to follow someone around all day. Isn't that what our shadows do? Yeah. But we never get any thanks. Some people are even afraid of their own shadows. Everyone would be happier if we just lived in our own worlds. That's why I call all my subjects home to the Sea of Shade." So the Shade King was the one who pulled everybody back to his home. Let's see. "Please look again," Peso pleaded. "Everyone is so sad without any shade. We have learned how important shadows are. Please let them come back, Your Highness." Poor Peso is requesting him. The Shade King grudgingly peered into his shadowscope and was surprised by what he saw. See, the whole world didn't have any shade or shadows. He turned back to his court, only to see glum faces looking up. at him. The shades miss their friends on the outside too. Not only were the world missing shadows, the shadows were missing the world as well. Very well, you may all return, the king decided, if the Octonauts agree to be our shade ambassadors and help remind everyone to appreciate their shadows. Thank you, Your Majesty. Barnacles accepted their new position with pride. They're going to be the shade ambassadors. We'll do our best, he said. Go, my shady subjects, the king proclaimed. Return to your friends. So all the shadows said bye-byes and goodbyes in every language they were used to. And then they all went back. That night, everyone enjoyed a big party to celebrate the first ever Shadow Appreciation Day. So we should all love our shadows, huh? Who doesn't like shadow puppets, do you? I love shadow puppets. So, all of you enjoy your shady day. Till tomorrow. The end. Hug me, I am shady. Bye-bye, little ones. Good night.